1:01 p.m. and this is the Hudson IDA meeting. And being that some of us have our cameras blocked out, may I please have a roll call of attendance?
All right, I'm going to do a roll call. Heather Campbell. Here. John Cody.
Here.
Tiffany Garriga.
Here.
Kamal Johnson. Kamal.
Sorry, present. Was on
That's
mute.
okay. Cheryl Kazluga. Richard Wallace.
Here.
Rebecca Wolf.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Thank you all for joining us today. And Ms. Chow, thank you as well for joining us. Always good to see you. We have some information today, basically an update on this proposal. And let's save our questions for after the presentation and the updates that we received today, please. Mike?
Thank you, Madam Chair. My understanding is, Lisa, that we have to run through 2 committee meetings quickly. Is that correct?
We actually have to form the committees. I have a chairperson for each one, but I do not have committees.
Okay. So for the Finance Committee, Heather Campbell is the chair. How many, do we need 2 members for the Finance Committee?
2 additional.
2 additional. Are there any volunteers? We also have the Governance Committee chaired by Mayor Johnson, and we'll need 2 people for that committee. So if you'd rather govern and well, no nominations here, but Governance Committee or Finance Committee, if you have a preference. I suppose, Lisa, if you just go down the list of the other members, they could, since there's only 5 of you, plus.
Well, we can start with me. I can tell you right now, I do not want to be on the Finance Committee.
So could you call the roll and ask each person if they would indicate which of the 2 committees they would be willing to serve on, and then, because I think that would be 4 people, and then, you know, the 2 chairs are the 5th and 6th. So it sounds like the agency chair would like to be on the Governance Committee. So Tiffany, is that okay?
Yes, thank you.
And Lisa, if you could go down the roll and ask the other members which committee they'd like to serve on.
Heather, I'm skipping you because you're chair of the Finance. John Cody?
Governance.
Cheryl is not here. Richard Wallace?
I'm not in a position where I could do this at this moment, but thank you.
Rebecca Wolf?
I would rather be on the governance committee, but I'll be on the finance committee if there's not enough people on the finance committee.
Right now, all I have is a chairperson for volunteering.
Sure.
So I still need 1 person for finance.
And you can serve on both, correct?
Right.
You can serve on both. And the chairperson of the governance can serve as a staff member or a board member on the finance as well. So Kamal, you could serve on finance if you wanted.
Yeah, I understood. I just have no interest in serving.
I didn't want to put you on the spot.
I think that, you know, we do have to keep in focus that at this point, the finances of this organization, with the expert engagement of the city treasurer and Lisa's assistance, that it's not a heavy lift. I am hoping that as we review and potentially close additional deals, that your treasury will be enhanced to the point where you know, finance committee will be an important job. Not to diminish the role of it on a procedural basis, but, we do need to satisfy the ABO. So if we could put one more person down, Lisa can.
But the person that's not here.
And that's a question we have to address. The city assessor is a member of this committee by statute or by city resolution, and just as so I don't know if in her part-time capacity she's able to serve, but if not, does the council want to consider appointing or designating a different official or citizen to that position? But that's for the governance committee to discuss once the committee is formed. Why don't you just put Cheryl down for now, and she can at least she can report to the ABO, and if she defers and doesn't want to serve, then we'll deal with that later.
And we can also let her know that the position that we are in, we had to appoint her.
Right. Great.
Can I ask a question? Is there a specific time that
No.
that people can join the IDA? Like, or are we open to new membership throughout the year?
Well, this particular IDA is unique from many that I have seen, in the fact that the authorizing resolution by the city council appoints people who appoints positions, and it's the mayor, the majority and minority leader, the city treasurer, the city assessor, and a representative, either the city planning board chair or his or her representative, and a citizen. At one point, the citizen position was designated for the school board, but the school board continued to indicate they had no one interested or willing to serve. So the city council amended the resolution to provide for a citizen, and I believe Richard Wallace went through a selection process and was appointed by the council.
Yes.
So there's no new membership right now. That's the answer to that. Okay.
No.
Okay.
I think that's something that you have to bring up to the council.
Mhm.
I mean,
So Lisa, now that you have committees, did you want to?
and I would ask that everyone please raise their hand. I can see you.
Oh.
Thank you. I meant when you were ready to speak.
I was confused.
Mhm.
We can all talk at once.
Lisa, what do we need to do next to accommodate the requirements that you've outlined?
We're going to do the minutes of the finance committee. So we have to call the finance committee to order, since we have not. We called the general meeting to order.
Lisa?
Yes.
Sorry, Lisa, are you asking the board to call a temporary recess and allow the committees to meet?
Yes.
Yes. And I am asking this board for a motion for a temporary recess so we can finish committee business. I need a motion and a second.
Motion from Heather.
I'll second it.
All in
Rebecca?
favor?
Aye.
All in, anyone
Aye.
opposed?
Aye.
Session is on pause, and let's open up for the finance committee, please.
So that's me.
That's you, Heather.
You're on.
All right. Do we have the documents to show online, or?
I don't know that we have that technical capacity, or it may be here, but we don't necessarily know how to do it. So I guess I don't think you can really, it's hard to approve the minutes. I don't know that, but I assume the minutes, Lisa, were in the packet.
They were in the packet.
A along with the treasurer's report?
Yep. And the charter.
Okay, so if everybody opens their email, I can walk you through the financial statements. Okay, bear with me. I just okay.
Did everyone find it in their emails?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I guess the first thing we want to review would be the minutes. So if you want to open that. Okay, so does everybody have the Finance Committee minutes from Tuesday, October 8th, 2019?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, does anyone have any comments on the minutes? If so, please state them. If not, can I have a motion to have them accepted?
I'll make that motion.
Can I get a second?
You're the only second there. Cheryl isn't here.
Okay.
Right, you are. I second the motion.
I'm in
So
favor.
all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right. Minutes are accepted. Okay. Now, if you would like to open the treasurer's report, which is in a second email from Friday 8/7 at 3:35 p.m. sent out by Lisa.
Got it.
Okay. So I'm actually going to take you to the second page first, which is the profit and loss statement. So this is the income that we have achieved for the year to date. It consists of the lease income, which is a one-time annual payment that we get from Hudson Terrace, and interest income on the monies that are in the bank. We also have pilot income, which is the pilot payment that Hudson Terrace makes. However, that's not actual real income, as you'll see on the balance sheet, because it gets distributed back out. So you'll see the total income is 180, And you can see that the pilot distribution is the same amount as, well, it's off by a penny, is the same amount as what was taken in, and that gets distributed to the City of Hudson, Columbia County, and the Hudson City School District. The administration expenses to date are for CEDC services, and that number will continue to increase throughout the year, assuming that we approve an extension of their contract. The audit fees are for the one-time audit, so that's an all-in number, and those are our legal fees to date. So as you can see right now, our net income is a loss of $3,300 at this point in time.
Okay,
Any questions on that?
got it. Can I, a very, oh, I did have, can you hear me?
Yep, I can.
Okay, so the amounts that, what determines the amounts that are distributed is something in the original agreement with the pilot. Is that right? Like what amount goes to the city and the county and the, is that what determines that, or that's in our?
No, that's determined by the agreement, and it's pretty standard across pilots. It's distributed based on what percentage of the total tax levy is accounted for by each entity. So what that means in practice is that the city gets roughly 29%, the school gets about 51%, and the county gets the difference, which I think is about 19%. And it's interesting to note because since the county and the school taxes have gone up at higher rates, particularly the school than the cities, we actually are getting less of each pilot distribution, both the city-owned pilots and the IDA pilots, pretty much every year. When I started, we were getting close to, I think, 35%, and now we're down to 29% of it.
And that, but that's not something that we can change at this point, right?
That is not.
Yeah, it's fixed. Okay. Thanks.
You ready to move to the balance sheet?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. So just scroll up. Okay. So basically, if you're not familiar, are you familiar with the balance sheet, Rebecca? Because I can explain in more detail if you like, or not if I don't need to.
I've seen balance sheets before. I don't know if there's anything particular that is that's unusual.
No,
but,
no, not really. Okay, so then basically, you know, the one side of the balance sheet are assets. So you can see the assets that we have. First thing is basically current assets, which is cash. So some of that cash is set aside for the escrow account for 620 Union, so that's broken out separately. The remainder is how much is, you know, the IDA operating cash. And remember, the bulk of that money is actually the pilot payment that will be coming out. So we have total cash on hand of about 221,000. We have this fixed asset of land that has been on the books forever and can't really find any background on. So total assets is 261.7. We have on the liability side, we have, you see, $5,000 of accounts payable. That's the balance of the CEDC contract, I believe. We have to offset the escrow funds with an escrow liability. So you see that number matches the escrow cash amount under the assets. And then as we talked about before, here are the pilots payable that will go to each of the entities. So that's that 171,263. So basically, and again, you can see the net income through August matches obviously the income from the income statement. So that's pretty much it.
Great.
If there aren't any questions, can I make I motion that we accept the financial statements through August 2020?
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
You just need to close the meeting, Heather, and you did a good job. Thanks.
Did you need to go over the charter, Lisa?
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. Charter has not changed at all since it was adopted in 2017.
Okay, so you just wanted to call this to the board's, to the committee's attention because it's a document that's approved by the board.
Yes.
Is there any way to share the screen to just show the charter, or is it like?
It's
I don't
actually,
have a camera. I don't have a camera, Rebecca. It was in the meeting packet.
yeah, Rebecca, if you look at the meeting packet, it's the last page, last
Okay.
3 pages. Actually. So not the treasurer's report, but the meeting packet that Lisa sent out.
The run of meeting document, right?
No, it's called the HIDA FinCom meeting packet. But in my email, it's immediately after the run of meeting one.
Got it. Okay. Got it.
So now we are opening back up to our meeting.
Oh, I have to technically close the meeting first. So.
Oh, I thought you did. I'm sorry.
Nope, that's okay. So Rebecca, did you have any comments on the charter?
No, thank you.
Okay, so the Finance Committee has no comment charter as it stands. So I make a motion to close the Finance meeting. Can I have a second?
I second it.
I'll say.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's all yours, Tiffany.
Thank you. We are opening back up to our general meeting at 1:23. And what else do you have for us, Mike?
Lisa, do you have to do the governance committee as well?
Yes, we should.
Okay. Mayor?
Okay. I will close the general meeting again so we can open up for the governance committee. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Well, Rick, you're gonna take a temporary recess again, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Would refer to, I
Motion
think.
to adjourn for a temporary recess to handle the governance committee.
So moved.
May I have a motion? May I have a second? May I have a
Motion.
second? Thank you.
Heather.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. General is closed. Floor is yours, Mayor.
So, for this, we don't have any agenda items for governance.
Mayor,
We
you
just,
could just approve the minutes for the past meetings and approve the governance charter in 2 quick, I think that would satisfy.
can I have a motion to approve minutes?
They're 2019 minutes, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Motion to approve the 2019 minutes.
Can I do it even if I wasn't on the,
yeah, no, that always like makes me confused because we weren't a part of
Yeah.
this.
John and Richard abstained and the rest of you have voted yes.
sorry, Mike? Yep. Was it?
John and Richard abstained because they weren't here and I guess the mayor wasn't there either.
Yeah, no, I wasn't there either.
And Rebecca wasn't. So just why don't you all vote yes?
Wait, I'm sorry, Michael, aren't you in a governance committee meeting right now?
Yes, but there's only 2 people who are so you don't need the full board, right? Yeah, so it's just
Right.
the government committee. Tiffany and Heather, if you could vote, well, Heather's not on this committee. Tiffany, vote yes, and we can move on. This is
I vote yes. All in favor? It's not me, sorry.
Was that 2 people?
John actually would make the second person since he's on the committee.
Okay. John, I need your vote.
Okay, you have my vote. Yes.
Thanks, John.
I know.
Great.
So I'm gonna.
Now, Kamal, you're on to a charter, and the charter has not changed again. So unless you have any changes to make.
No.
Move on.
Yeah, let's move on.
I'm still in this meeting.
Do I need to close this meeting?
Now you just want to adjourn the meeting now.
All right. I make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
I'll,
All right, motion is accepted. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you. And now we are opening back up from temporary recess to back to our general meeting.
All right.
Now, Mike, is there anything you need to inform the board about?
Lisa would like us to approve the minutes of previous meetings, approve the appointment of the Finance and Governance Committee members. So if you could entertain those motions, Madam Chair, we can get into the business of the meeting.
I'm sorry, I just went blank. Can you repeat yourself?
Could you entertain a motion to approve the minutes of previous meetings as outlined in the agenda?
Yes. May I have a motion to approve the minutes for the previous meetings that we had, please?
so moved.
May I have a second?
I second the motion.
All in favor, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Bye.
Anyone
Aye.
opposed? So carried.
And then if you could approve the appointments to the Governance and Finance Committee as previously designated.
As Mike stated, may I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Oh, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No? So carry.
Thank you. The next item, Madam Chair, apparently our contract has expired. Is that correct, Lisa?
I'm sorry, I had an emergency call. Can you repeat yourself?
Lisa, apparently the contract between the IDA and CEDC to provide administrative services has expired. Is that correct?
Yes.
And when did it expire? In June?
June.
I don't have it in front of me. I think it went from July to the end of June.
Right. Well, so the
The
question,
I'm sorry.
so I think that why don't we continue as a holdover and deal with this at the next meeting, because I would want to give you more time to discuss this. Currently, you compensate us at $10,000 a year with a 10% fee on 10% of any closing fee that you receive, or IDA fee. But I don't want to take the time of the developer here or the board members. So why don't we get that out in a separate memo so that we can have a discussion about that administrative matter, and we'll just be a holdover until you approve it or not. Is that okay, Council?
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
Well, thank you all for getting through the administrative materials. We have with us again today David Kessler from Sandstone Partners, the developer of the proposed 620 Hudson House LLC hotel project, and his counsel, Joseph Scott, with Hudson Russ Albany office. As you know, we've had continued discussions with Mr. Kessler and during the COVID time here, and we thank him for his ongoing engagement and participation. Back in July, he provided a pilot proposal, and they have also amended their application. And I would ask either David or Joe to walk through the amendments. And the amendments are based on the fact that over time and as the project has become more clear and better defined, some of the dollar numbers and other numbers have changed. And then, you know, we are awaiting the final report from our consultant on evaluating the pilot payment. But then I understand that the developer is asking to consider, the agency to consider an inducement resolution, which council can explain the impact of, and asking to set a public hearing with includes a proposed pilot. And then, Joe, do you want to, or David, start with discussion of the amended application details?
I'd be happy to talk. Yes, this is Joe Scott. David, I'll start. Or David, did you want to do an introduction?
Sorry, it's okay. I think we're well beyond introduction at this level. In the deep, please.
Great. So then I'll pick up. What we did was we sent you the application in a clean form with the changes, and then we sent a separate distribution of the application just showing marked changes. As we indicated, the changes are relatively non-controversial. They reflect the passage of time. And so what I'll do is I'll go through them quickly, and please interrupt me with any comments or questions.
Joe, I don't know, you're very staccato. I don't know if you're a speaker or if the rest of us could put ourselves on mute, perhaps it might be clearer.
Yeah, I have no background noise here, so I'm not sure what's happening. And that, it sounds all good. Sounds all good now. So page 1, there's a change to reflect that that Mr. Kessler is now a City of Hudson resident. So we changed that page. We the next page,
I'm
which
sorry,
is
can I interrupt for a second? Do we have a copy of this? Because I'm not finding it. Was it distributed to us?
I didn't get a copy of it.
Lisa, would you be able to email the board a copy of it, please, so we can have it while he is presenting to us?
I don't have a copy of it.
I will do that. This came in yesterday. I'm sorry it wasn't sent to you.
Thank you.
Question to the board. Would you like Mr. Scott to continue, or would you rather wait to receive the?
I would prefer to wait.
Well, since he started, I'd say continue, and then when we get it, we can read it over, and you know, at the next meeting.
I heard two continue and 1 wait. Other board members?
Sorry, it's Rebecca here. It's fine with me if we wait or if he continues. I'm neutral.
I'm gonna say we're gonna wait on the because of the treasurer is the key to our board with the numbers. So we're gonna wait until we receive the document. Thank you, Mr. Scott.
Absolutely, Chair. We're happy to hold. Not a problem.
John Cody, what's your email?
I'm sorry.
What's your email address?
It's well, it's you want the City of Hudson?
Whichever one will get to you.
It's john.cody.
Okay.
All lowercase.
I have it. Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, you should have it now, or it's en route.
Mike, did you send that to my City of Hudson email or my Gmail?
Both.
Okay, thanks.
Is there anyone other than a member of the agency or council who would like a copy?
I received. No, they should have it.
Thank you.
I've received mine as well.
And what you've received,
I've gotten mine.
hopefully you've received 2 PDFs.
Yes.
Okay, if you open the smaller one, that's the marked copy, and you'll see that my office has highlighted the text that's been changed to facilitate your review.
I just received it. I'm opening it up now.
And again, if you open the smaller of the 2 PDFs, that will make the review very efficient. And just let me know when people are ready for me to begin. Thank you.
This is Heather. I'm ready.
Okay, Mr. Scott,
Very good.
floor is
Thank you,
yours.
Chair. Thank you, Chair. So going back to page 1, you'll see highlighted text there. We changed the address of Mr. Kessler. He's now a resident of the City of Hudson. We also put amended at the top to make it easier for the IDA staff to distinguish this application from the prior application. The second page of the PDF, it's page number 4 at the bottom. We've updated the project cost to 14.3, again, reflecting the elapse of time. We've also updated the value of the exemptions being considered by the IDA, and the goal there is to have them be consistent with the computations being prepared by your outside consultant regarding the cost-benefit analysis. The next page, page 5 at the bottom, is
One thing that I'd like to point out, Joe, yeah, and it's also consistent with the memo that we submitted at the last meeting. But one thing that I'd like to point out is that New York sales and compensating use tax of $312,000, the amount of that would in theory be collecting the value for the City of Hudson is only $20,000 of that. And for the mortgage recording taxes of $98,750, the value of that the City of Hudson would be getting, but is not because of the exemption, is only $54,000 of the 98, half of it. I think that's important to note.
I agree, David, and all that'll be outlined in the cost benefit analysis. And we look forward to seeing a draft of that to review the numbers and to confirm the numbers. The next page, page numbered 3, it's page 3, but it's numbered 5 at the bottom. Again, is just address changes for Mr. Kessler. The next page, more address changes. The next page, this is somewhat significant. It's PDF page 5, printed page 7. The size of the addition is now 18,000 square feet. There's been some movement of the dimensions of the addition, and we wanted that to be accurate for purposes of Ms. Schall's drafting of the inducement resolution and the public hearing notice.
One thing that I'd like to note there that is the square footage excluding the vertical penetration and the size of the wall. So but it includes all of the corridors and stairwells and back of the house, but it doesn't include the vertical penetration. So like elevated bathroom.
The next page, page 6 of the PDF, printed page 10 at the bottom. We updated the list of involved agencies to delete the zoning board. We updated the development costs, and we updated the construction start to reflect that we're in the midst of a pandemic, and that's created some delays with the undertaking of the project. The next page, PDF page 7, printed page 15, we've updated the numbers to reflect the increased project cost, which again reflects the passage of time and the preparation of better estimates. The next page, printed page 16, we've updated the source of funds to reflect the project costs, and we've updated the development cost number to make it consistent. PDF page 9 and printed page 17. These numbers just conform to the summary in the beginning of the application, reflecting the value of the exemptions. Pages 26, 27 reflect changes to the itemized numbers to reflect the increased project cost, which again reflects the passage of time and the preparation of better estimates. I'm now on PDF page 12, which is printed page 28. At the very top, we added text directing you to look at our memo with respect to the cost benefit analysis and also with the cost benefit report that is being prepared on your behalf by an outside consultant. So that will provide you with the detail for the balance of page 28 and 29.
Excuse me, Joe? Joe? Excuse me?
Yeah, yes.
I have a question, if I could, Madam Chair. I didn't see in the numbers that you presented, unless I missed it, I saw permanent employment levels, but I didn't see any projected construction employment to be taken into account in part of the cost benefit analysis. Is that something that was intentional, or is that intended to be included?
We did not include that in our original application because we didn't have numbers for that at that time. We didn't include it in the memo because we still are working on those numbers. But my understanding though is that the cost benefit analysis that's being prepared by your outside firm has an estimate for those numbers. So we'll if there isn't something in the cost benefit analysis being prepared by your outside consultant, we'll based on discussions with our contractor.
Okay, thank you.
And with respect to that, I sent a preliminary draft, but then their person was on vacation last week, and we're scheduled to reconnect with them in the next day or two. And what we're trying to figure out is how to make sure we have not only the cost of attributed to the incentives, but also the full range of benefits, including the sales tax and bed tax that the project will generate for your comparison.
And part of that, because we're committing to purchase 31 parking permits from the city. So that, I think that should be as well.
Any questions from the board so far?
So then,
Okay.
Madam Chair, the balance of the changes on printed page 29, I updated the pilot numbers there and then referred to our memo. and our memo is attached at the end of the application and at the end of the marked pages. You've seen that previously. And again, the attempt there is to provide you with detail about the pilot proposal. So that's a description of the modified application. We certainly thank the board for their continued review and attention to the matter. Our hope is that the board will consider the resolution prepared by your council, authorizing, among other things, the holding of a public hearing so that we can move forward to proceed with the project. Our client is very interested in closing on the transaction in terms of the acquisition of the real estate. Would like to do so. Obviously need to do so only after completion of the IDA transaction. And so we're hoping that with this additional information, the board is now in a position to take this preliminary action of considering the resolution, adopting the resolution, and then moving forward to scheduling a public hearing. So thank you very much. And I and my client, Mr. Kessler, are open for any comments or questions.
Any questions from the board?
There was one question that came up at the last meeting that I'd like to address, and that was what happens in...
Who's speaking?
That's David Kessler.
Thank you.
And that was what happens in year 11 when, when the pilot runs out and the project gets reassessed. My response is simply, by that point in time, 11 years from now, we'll be stabilized, up and running, and the income will support whatever tax is at that time.
Yes, Rebecca?
Could I just ask a question about, this is just like a little question on page 4, number of full-time employees at the project site, and then estimate of jobs to be created is 30 retained. What is NA? What does that mean to be retained? Like,
It's not an existing facility, Rebecca, so that there isn't. So for example, if you had an existing facility and you were going to expand it, an existing facility in operation, maybe you'd have 10 employees working there now, maybe expanding it, you'd have 20 employees. So you'd only use retention if you had an existing operating facility there.
oh, okay, thanks.
Yep.
Got it.
Thank you. Any other questions from the board? Mr. Scott?
Michael,
Yes,
did you distribute the draft resolution to the board?
you should right now all have the draft resolution and the draft public hearing notice.
So I don't know if the board is ready to do this, but this is the draft of a resolution which would accept the application and authorize a public hearing to be held for purposes of compliance with the IDA statute. When the IDA is going to consider an application for assistance, it needs to hold a public hearing. Typically, for convenience, we've authorized the chair to formally hold the public hearing, but of course, all the board members can attend the hearing and make comments and so forth. They can participate. The purpose of the resolution is to lay out the financial assistance that's being requested as set out in the application. So it describes the project with exactly what the application presents, the existing building and the expansion of 18,000 square feet and a total cost of 14.3 million. And then it explains that what is being proposed in terms of financial assistance is the execution of what would be considered standard IDA documents. We have standard documents that would be tailored for this project, but they are an agent agreement and a lease agreement that would allow the project to be from taxes and then a pilot agreement, which would then impose an agreement to make payments in lieu of taxes at the levels that are proposed in the application. An exemption from real estate transfer taxes, and exemption from mortgage tax if they end up doing a loan. So he's presented this as if they had. He's presented the Cameron analysis as if they were going to be doing a loan, and an exemption from sales and use taxes in the application. So those are the forms of financial assistance, and that would be described in the public hearing notice to let people know that these are the types of things the IDA is considering. And so the purpose of the resolution would be to, and I will also note that the resolution says that we haven't made a seeker finding yet. And so no approvals can be granted to the project until the seeker determination is made. So this is a public hearing only at this point in time that you would be authorizing. The resolution authorizes the chair to establish the specific time for the public hearing. There is a form of notice that we've provided that would have to be tailored based on currently continuing the Zoom proceedings for the meetings that you've been following, and I think that you're familiar with at your common council meetings. You'd be following the same type of procedure, and Michael would assist you with the details of setting that that notice up correctly. So does the board have any questions about that?
So just to be clear, if we move forward with this today, it's just for scheduling a public hearing?
Correct, exactly right.
Okay.
And the other, let me just say, the other thing the resolution does is it authorizes the distribution of notice to the affecting taxing jurisdictions so that they are aware of the assistance that's being provided, to give them an opportunity to comment as well. So the school district, the county, the city would have an opportunity to comment as well. Be made aware.
Thank you.
And it's my Madam Chair,
Yes.
it's my understanding, Chris, that you know, this is in no way has the board approving anything but process.
Yes.
Correct.
But would it be safe to say that if we're going to a public hearing, we would want to go forward with something that we all think is the best and strongest offer?
I think we would do that after the hearing.
Can I mean, my understanding is that,
Rebecca,
I'm sorry.
Answer the treasurer first.
I mean, I think that's the discretion of the board. Michael, do you have a comment?
No, I mean, I understand both sides of that question. One is, you know, I guess it really comes down to when does the agency reach, you know, is it based on what the applicant has asked, or what the agency has indicated they're willing to accept that you would want the public comment on? Is that how you see it?
Do we move forward with the motion?
Can I just ask a follow-up question?
Sorry, Rebecca. I'm sorry. Yes. I'm sorry. Yes. Go on with your question. I'm sorry.
Yeah, just to follow up on what Heather's asking, my impression, my understanding, which I would like to be clarified on if I'm wrong, is that after we see the cost benefit analysis, we as a board, as an agency, are going to have time to make requests for changes based on that cost benefit analysis. Is that right?
The cost benefit analysis needs to be made available before you do a final approval. So you will have an opportunity to review it. And your decision about whether you want to review it will have to take into account your findings about that cost benefit. So if you get to the step after the public hearing of considering an approval resolution, you will have to make a series of findings that this is in the best interest of the agency, taking all of those results into account.
Mhm.
Answer your question?
I think so.
Okay.
I mean, I would like some advice, I guess.
If you can't make the finding, then you'd say, this doesn't work, the transaction doesn't work here. I don't think that the benefit is outweighed by I don't think the benefit outweighs the cost or vice versa, right? That's going to be trying to evaluate. So if you don't feel that that test is met, then you would not want to proceed with the project. That's
Well, can I just
doing that?
Sorry. So would it make sense though for us to see the cost benefit analysis first and then, and then approve the resolution for the public hearing? Or is that, I'm looking for a little discussion.
So Mike, you were hoping to have that available, but you don't have it available yet?
No, clearly it demonstrates a significant benefit to the city when you take into account the fact that 11 years of pilot payments, 11 years of sales tax on people staying at the hotel and buying and using the restaurant, the 4% on the bed tax, the hotel tax, the funding from the parking lot, the spin-off economic benefit of both the construction workers and the full-time employees using those funds in the community versus the 1% IDA fee. When you add all of those things together, they significantly, I think it was almost a 50-to-1 ratio of the numbers that they gave us with respect to the benefits. And I think that in the revised application, I don't know, Joe, do you have that right in front of you? You had given us the mortgage recording tax number and the sales tax number and the I think it was about $250,000 in pilot benefit over on a present value basis. Do you have those other two numbers handy?
I do. 312 is the sales tax, and 98,750 is the mortgage recording tax. Again, assuming that we do a loan.
And it was three what?
312,000 for sales tax. And again, those are gross numbers, not PV numbers. Those are gross numbers.
And when I'm looking at the fiscal analysis,
If I could just,
yeah.
well, so my concern is really for process, like that we're doing this in the right order. That's my concern. So I'm not attempting to cast aspersions or anything. I'm just actually trying to figure out if we're, proceeding properly. That's all.
Right.
Well,
Chris, are we proceeding properly?
I would say that some boards do, grant discretion to the chair to set a hearing before they make these kinds of decisions about whether or not there's a cost benefit finding based on the financial analysis. But that's to your discretion.
So what we're doing is, if we do it, is just allowing this to move forward for a public hearing, which will give us more of an idea of how the public feels about this upcoming project. I don't think that just having this move forward to a public hearing is going to jeopardize how we stand and how this project may go either way. But it gives an opportunity to the public, and it gives us the opportunity to receive that feedback from the public, especially during these times where it's hard to do face-to-face communications with individuals. Respectful to the board's decision, but I would recommend to move forward with a public hearing as our attorney stated. And you have a question, Cody?
I do.
Yes.
Is there a time limit after the public hearing where we have to make a determination?
No.
Is there anything in, okay, all right.
There's not a shot clock like in the planning board situation.
Right, okay, that was why I asked.
But you want to
Still
make
learning.
you want to make a decision in a reasonable amount of time, right? You want to
Yeah.
say yes or no.
And,
Right.
and I'm expecting to have the final report on the economics by the end of this week. And there is a notice requirement for the public hearing. So we could certainly be in a position where both the board and the public have access to that report before the hearing.
Thank you. If there isn't any other questions from the board, I would like to move forward with the public hearing and ask for a motion.
I'll issue that motion.
Thank you, Mayor. May I have a second, please?
I second the motion.
Thank you. And who seconded that? I can't see.
That's Rich.
Thank you. Did you hear that, Lisa?
Yes, I did.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Anyone opposed? We will move forward with a public hearing, and I will work with Mike Tucker to schedule that and inform the board when that shall be.
Madam Chair, this is Joe Scott. Thank you very much for your continued attention to this very important project. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Now, what about the inducement resolution?
It is the resolution that I thought the board was moving on. There's only one resolution that
All
was.
right, okay, all right.
That's the resolution that I understood you were
Okay.
moving and voting on, right?
It includes the public hearing notice.
The public hearing notice is just a form, right?
Thank you.
The resolution is the resolution, right?
And I think that, you know, again, there's a lot of work to do between now and finalizing the transaction, but continuing to move it forward, I think is a positive thing. And I think that, you know, we appreciate the developers' continued interest, particularly in this economic environment. You know, frankly, I told him when he called after about 6 or 8 weeks after the COVID crisis started that frankly I was surprised to hear of his continued interest in moving forward. And I think that you know, again, the fact that we waited till the planning board and other regulatory issues with the city were resolved, so the IDA wasn't in the position of pressuring those bodies and making their determination was an important part of building the timeline and the process for this project. And we will get the study to you and coordinate the timing of a public hearing. Is there a deadline by which we have to have the public hearing? Can it be in the next week or so?
It can be set, but Michael, you want to have the Camline report available.
Yes.
I would not schedule that until you have that report available.
Right. And we should have that this week.
Okay.
Great. Well, thank you all for your time. I have nothing else, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And when you do receive that information this week, as I'm sure you will, just please send it out to the board.
If there's a desire to have a special meeting to review it, we're happy to coordinate that with you as well.
Thank you. May I have a motion to adjourn, please?
Madam Chair, if I might ask, if you have any public comment.
Oh, I'm sorry. Ooh,
That's okay.
I'm just, we do have quite a bit of guests here today. So do we have any comments from the public? I don't see any. Do you see any, Lisa, hands? I don't see any. With that being said, and our no comments from the public and nothing else from the board, may I have a motion to adjourn, please?
So
Make
moved.
that motion.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Aye, aye. Anyone opposed? Thank you all. Have a great day. Meeting is adjourned at 2:07.
Thank you all for
Thank
your
you.
patience.
Thank
through
you.
the administrative.